Hey everybody, it's Robbie. There's a new Druid Meta for Season 6 in town. It involves crying and shouting at the enemies, just like a real Barb build, but contrary to Barb, the Druid shouts are actually dealing damage here, and this Druid here is shouting the enemies for up to 3 billion damage, and all you do, you can see here, all you do is shout, and all the enemies die with the new flash render aspect. You basically poison them, and then you shout them to death, and this is a Pit 100, and this Druid is making it look easy, pretty much just like a speedrun, and he's just shouting at all those enemies, and yeah, he brings them down pretty comfortable with those very mighty cries. Barbarian can only dream of this, and we have the full clear, we have the full planner, and it's all revolving around this flash render one-hand maze that basically whenever you cast a defensive skill, which Debilitating Roar is a defensive skill, it makes you deal this insane amounts of damage, and you can reduce your Debilitating Roar because the Druid stole the aspect of both Chieftain. You might remember this from the Barbarian, and you can just use this on a Druid now and reduce the cooldown of Debilitating Roar, which also scales with ranks. You get more ranks, it gets less cooldown, and then you get a Shaco with cooldown reduction, and then with both Chieftain, just like on the Barb, you can perma-cast this one, and with Flash Rendered and the new willpower scaling, you can get a ton of DPS. And this is exactly what this guy here is doing. He's utilizing it with the Wolf. This is the Wolf Crier build. You can also play this in Bear form. I think both builds are very viable, but we're going to be focusing here on the Wolf Crier, because this build I've seen here in this clear from JMac, who actually beat 100 with this. And this is looking out to be one of the top builds for Druid for Season 6. And I don't really think this is on a chopping block. Like, I don't think there's any reason to nerf this. This is just like a ton of fun. And you can see doing like hundreds of millions of damage per shout click. And I think Druid is actually looking pretty good. And I really hope that this build is not getting nuked for the next season, especially because we're getting Spiritborn, and probably a lot of Druid mains are going to go over to the Spiritborn. So I think it would be very cool to have like a fun, cool, and also new build here for the Druid. And you can see this build doesn't even care about wallers. Like, he just like shouts through the wall, he yells so loud. I don't even know what the sound is like. There's not much in-game sound, but he's basically like just roaring all the time in the werewolf form, and this basically hits the entire screen. You can see the monster down here even taking damage. Like, the entire screen is getting hit by this scream, by this roar. So it's so loud that it hits all the monsters, and they all melt. Like, this is actually a super strong build. You also have the Shred. So Shred Druid actually is also pretty decent, but here you're basically just using the Shred together, like, because Shred's a werewolf skill, basically to inflict like your toxins via your passive, so they are poisoned, and then you can basically roar that poison away as additional damage. Like, they need to be poisoned for this, and you guys can just kind of see here like how he's just eating through them. And I think here is like, you see like the tremendous power where everything on the left gets hit, everything on the right gets hit, like basically just the entire screen is getting hit. Yeah, your biggest crit was 15 billion. Okay, so see this one can hit up for 15 billion, man. That's insane. And it also has no animation, just like on the Barb. You can basically just keep using the shout, and you just keep roaring and shouting at the enemies. And they all just die, and this actually looks pretty comfortable, because it also like seems to like either stun or like at least crowd control them in some way. And keep in mind, Debilitating Roar was also used because it was doing some big damage reduction. They've nerfed a lot of that, but it's still giving like some good defensive buffs. And now he also has a challenge run, and you can just kind of see here like how even like those guys that are like barely standing on the screen here are just getting murdered by by that loud and fierce roar. So this looks like to be a pretty cool build. We're gonna like jump ahead a bit, and you can see as soon as the damage resistance guy is dead, like he basically, the way you approach this, like you want to poison dot up the entire screen, and then you basically just roar, and then they all melt. I don't think this was any bugged item. This is using Harlequin's Crest. No bugged. Yeah, we're gonna go over all the gear here in a second. The planner has been shared here by JMac, so super cool. of him. So definitely check out the video. I'm going to link this in the description below and also here in the chat. And he shared the full plan. We're going to check in a second. Let's see the boss fight. I think even the boss fight was looking very comfortable. So you see here, like he basically just roars at the boss and it dies. Like also no cooldown on the debilitating roar. And you just keep roaring. You can even keep your range. You see, as long as you just keep dancing, you keep shouting. And the animation is extremely fast. Like you see this druid like basically performing its own kind of like weird dance. But it is working, yes, you see. He's just going for it, man. Okay, yeah, you still gotta run out of those stuff. Like, it's still not a free kill, right? Like, but this is like a somewhat balanced build, I would say. It's not completely busted, not completely broken. So I think it's not on a chopping block, and this is actually a fun build. And I really hope it's gonna stay here as one of the top builds for Druid the next season. And you can basically play ranged as well with this. And yeah, he just like beats this boss. Skip a bit ahead again, and yeah, like with that, he basically just shouts him to death. And with that, Pit 100 falls. Actually 8 or 7.5 minutes clear. So actually a very fast clear. And also has potential to even move into A tier. I have it listed into S tier. I have it listed like at the very top of A tier. Can also run a speed 100, speed 90s like very easily. And yeah, it has potential for S tier even, like we'll see. Again, this tier list is very much work in progress right now. But yeah, here's pretty much the planner. So you use this debilitating raw, Bolt's Chieftain aspect, flash render, scaling it with willpower, your main stat. You're poisoning the enemies first, and then you're just stacking out all this willpower. You need the Harlequin's Quest for cooldown reduction. And then you're also playing the Dire Wolf, which basically allows you to go into Grizzly Rage. And in Grizzly Rage, together with the Dark Howl, which turns Debilitating Roar into a werewolf skill, and your Debilitating Roar will immobilize poisoned enemies. That's what you saw, like why the enemies didn't attack. Like they get immobilized constantly. And with this combination, you basically can just roar all the time, as long as you have your Bolt's Chieftain active. And yeah, so here, no bugs, no air. They have Harlequin's Crest, cooldown, masterwork. This is needed. You have the Shroud of the False Death here, with some extra stealth and just big damage boost, like +1 rank to all passives. Very insane. Then you have the Challenging Depth here, good multiplier against poisoned enemies. And then we have the Exploiter's aspect, more damage against unstoppable enemies. And they do get unstoppable pretty fast with the aspect of the Dark Howl, because you immobilize them when you poison them with your Shred. We're going to get to that in a second. Then the Flash Render, big buffs here. You want to get the willpower everywhere. Same on the amulet. Like you can actually get up to, I think it's almost 50% willpower. And I'm not sure if you saw the stats here. Oh yeah, this guy, okay, he's also showing his entire gear. So you can kind of see here how much willpower he has. So this is the Harlequin's Quest. And we see it in the couple frames here after. So he is rocking 5,000 willpower. And then the Shroud of the False Death. I'm just gonna like show this here real quick. This is his actual gear. Adventurers, Challenging Beasts, Grizzly Duration, Exploiters. Always use the Exploiters. Yeah, the Dark Howl that enables this. And then the Flash Render, this is like the key unique. Not even like greater affix, so it's still pretty decent here. With willpower, triple master. And you see like the crazy scaling this has, man. Like 2,600% damage increased by 100x of your, by 50% x of your willpower. And he gets a 2,500% additional bonus on this 2.6k. And that's how he's hitting for billions and billions, yeah. And here you see 42, okay, it's not 50, but 42% willpower on the actual amulet. Now that is a lot of willpower. And Venom, and he didn't even have the triple, on the amulet he didn't even have the triple, he just had life. So you can get even more DPS on the amulet if you get the right passive. Ring here with Vulnerable, Grizzly Rage, Shout, Bolt's Chieftain. Well, and then you're just playing the Stardust guy, and this is rocking. You also have offhand, one hand and offhand here. And this one is the Grizzly Rage one, also with willpower. And yeah, you can like get way better if you get ranks to Nature's Reach here instead of max life. So this wasn't even like, you know, fully min-maxed yet.
Great work on PTR.
Hey, thanks, man. There's so many great people, and we've just been like cooking on this tier list, and we are checking out the top Druid builds, and the Shout Wolf one here is certainly one of the better ones. In terms of runes, Yal rune, because casting is killed for cooldown. Again, debilitating roar usually has a cooldown, you're triggering this like crazy. With Xan, then your debilitating roar can overpower and it can crit. with the flash renderer, so that's pretty cool. Then you have the Lith rune here, standing still, and you're just shouting basically, and then you get the Barbarian's war cry. So not only are you roaring, you're also crying. So this is like basically another barb. Just like the spin to win whirlwind rogue, man. This one is just using all the best tricks that the barb has in its arsenal. So you don't need the barb anymore. You just get the war cry and you get the bold chieftain. And you also get the roar now. So it's almost a barb, man. It's going to be a fun build to play. You're using the Bloodhower, Grizzly Rage, Rabies, Shred, Maw, and then Roariness, Iron Feather, Avarice Wrath, Calamity, and a Masochistic. And the skill tree looks like this. Maul, maxed. You don't have any core skill, really. You have the Shred, but you get the Shred ranks from the Harlequin's Crest. And you only need the Shred. This is how you apply your poison. Together with the Toxic Claws here, that basically applies the poison just 1 point. And all your werewolf skills will basically just poison the enemies. Backlash here, the blood hole you use on top of this gives you like all the healing. It gives you like cooldown reduction. It also gives you more attack speed, and then you debilitating roar. And here it's very important, more ranks give you more cooldown, so you definitely want to max this. And from the Harlequin's Quest, you're getting another 4 ranks, which is almost like 4 seconds. You see, it's 0.9 per point. And then another 1.15x here with debilitating roar. You also get perma fortify all the time. And yeah, Nature's Reach here. This is also the stuff you want to put in the amulet. 5x and double against stunned, immobilized, or knockback. And you remember, you're gonna be immobilizing a ton with your boots, with the Dark Howl aspect. So very strong combination here. And yeah, Rabies here just for like additional poison spreads, makes it easier to spread and to inflict the enemies. And Venom, always 1.3x multiplier. Then the Grizzly Rage again, more points in to reduce the cooldown, pretty strong. Quick Shift, they nerfed this a little bit, but it's still very strong with heightened senses, catastrophe, and defensive posture. And then of course the key passive, Lupin Ferocity. This one gives another 1.7x on every third skill, and you're just shouting, I don't even know how many times a second. I'm just gonna go ahead and say yes, because the amount of shouts, like he's dancing a lot. Right? I think you can best see it on the boss fight. Like you see, like every little dance move that he makes is a shout or a roar. So there is loads. This is like a kind of like weird look. It almost looks like he wants to mate with this guy, but it's kind of like a weird looking dance. I mean, look at this guy. It's the animal kingdom, my friends, man. They can do this. The animals are going wild. Literally. Well, and then we get to the Paragon. And keep in mind, guys, all this footage, there was apparently various bugs on the PTR that were negatively impacting this build. The Headhunter glyph, to my knowledge, did not even exist. So this is like the new glyph, like it's called Challenger on the Barb, Headhunter here on the Rogues, and probably also on the Druids. And this glyph apparently didn't exist on the PTR, so it was missing a lot of this willpower. And keep in mind, like willpower is this crazy scalar here, and we were even missing this glyph, so it's gonna get even stronger than what you've seen here. Then we have the heightened metal sports, like obviously poisoned enemies, 45x easy with the spirit glyph. We have inner beast with keeper. We have the lust for carnage, which gives you a bunch of spirit with eliminator. And last but not least, did we actually take this? No, we have Thunderstruck, and I don't know if this can be optimized or if there's just no more legendary runs, but there's definitely some legendary nodes missing with Gusler. So basically just stacking damage. I think it was just because there was also so many bugs. I heard Thunderstruck was bugged, and also the Earth and Devastation passives. There was a lot of bugs that were negatively impacting the Druid. And I think the Landslide build might still have the edge here. I actually have it ranked slightly above. But we didn't really had any, above this Raw Druid, but we didn't really had any clear with Landslide. And I believe that this Raw Druid is actually going to be one of the best builds for Season 6, and definitely one of the coolest and most unique ones. So this one is really cool. Maybe if we have time after playing a Spiritborn Barbarian and Spin to Win Rogue, we can do one of these Shout, Warcry, Roar Druids. I'm certainly looking very much forward to it. Again, the video and the planner I link below. Check out JMac, and yeah, I wish you a wonderful day, and yeah, let's prepare for some shouting in Season 6. Let's go, GG. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.